So one of the reasons that triggered me to look at depression and diabetes management was a story that I have. So I am a clinical nurse specialist, and what that is just like a nurse practitioner, except I specialize. So I specialize and I treat people who have diabetes and all the chronic illnesses that goes with it. So I'm gonna tell you a little story. So this one of my patients, we're gonna call him Mr. Johnny. So Mr. Johnny, he was an older gentleman, came into my office, and this was back when I first started practicing about 15 years ago. He came to my office, and I'm real eager, trying to say, okay, I'm gonna get his diabetes under control. So I looked at Mr. Johnny. Mr. Johnny's numbers were way high when it comes to diabetes management, so I handed him a prescription. Mr. Johnny comes back in a month, and I'm looking at his numbers, and they're looking the same. I looked at Mr. Johnny, I said, oh, Mr. Johnny, you just need some more medications for your diabetes. Let me give you another prescription. So now we're at the third visit for Mr. Johnny. The numbers are the same. His diabetes is completely out of control. So I looked at the numbers, then I looked at Mr. Johnny. Then I scooted back from my computer, and I said, Mr. Johnny, what's going on with you? After he talked, and I let him talk, and he must have talked for about 20 minutes about everything that was going on in his life. After the conversation, we determined that he was clinically depressed. So that's why he wasn't managing anything. He just came back, he kept coming back to his appointments, but he wasn't taking anything, he wasn't doing anything. So I said, okay, Mr. Johnny, are you willing to go and see the psychiatrist? Because we have one right here in the clinic. He said, absolutely not. I said, okay, Mr. Johnny, well, will you take a prescription from me to start depression management? He said, yeah, I'll give it a try. So after about 4 to 6 weeks, Mr. Johnny comes back to me. He looks so much better. And guess what? His diabetes was under control because he took the medication for depression, he took his medication for diabetes. I didn't have to add anything else.